On today's episode of Time About the Movies, on this weekend before Thanksgiving 2012, we're taking a look at the final installment of the Twilight series, Breaking Dawn Part 2, which is both the best and the worst of these films, and I'll explain why in a little bit here. But we have also one of my favorite movies of all time, David O. Russell's The Silver Linings Playbook with Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence, and Keira Knightley and an Oscar contender from director Joe Wright, Anna Karenina. So, 3 films to take a look at on the week before Thanksgiving, November 16th, 2012. Time About the Movies.
Family's in danger. I need your help.
Told her we think Renesmee is an immortal child.
We'll join you.
We will stand with you.
Pax will fight. I've never been afraid of vampires.
I'll never let anybody hurt you.
Breaking Dawn Part 2, rated PG-13, November 16th. Tickets available now.
Yeah, if you've never seen these movies and you're just looking at that and saying, wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, this series actually might find some life to it. Prepare yourself for how that's going to turn out, because they pull the biggest rug from you with that scene in particular towards the end. But welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 3 films that make up November 16th, 2012. And of course, we're starting off with the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2. The final Twilight Saga begins with Bella, Kristen Stewart, now a vampire, learning to use her abilities, and happy to see that her daughter, Renesmee, is flourishing. But when someone sees Renesmee do something that makes that make them think she is turned, this person goes to the Volturi because it's a violation to turn a child. And the penalty is death for both whom to turn the child into a vampire and the child, because they deem the turned child too dangerous. Alice gets a vision of the Volturi coming after them, so the Cullens try to convince them that the Renesmee is not a threat. So they ask friends and family to come stand with them, but when someone who has it in with the Volturi shows up and tells them that they should be ready for a fight, and they get ready. That's literally how it says on IMDb, so that's not me. That's just IMDb in general with that plot synopsis there. But yeah, after being bored to tears with Breaking Dawn Part 1, it's at least good to know that this one is nowhere near as bad as Part 1. It's still not the best of the Twilight movies either. I mean, Eclipse, I think, is still the one film in the series that I'll give them credit. They actually tried, and they succeeded for the most part. There are still a lot of flaws with it, but I will honestly admit there was actually some enjoyment watching this movie for a good majority of this film. I actually didn't think it was that bad. I thought we actually did a good job of getting invested in the story going along, and I was intrigued to see how it was going to turn out. I mean, yeah, the fight scenes you see in the trailer, they look badass. They look pretty incredible. But then they drop the biggest ball on you at the tail end. And after this amazing looking action sequence where you see all the characters going around beating the crap out of each other, it's violent, it's fun to watch. The action sequences as a whole are pretty badass. You think you're going to see something incredible and amazing. You have the what do you call it, the ground they're standing on completely breaking apart like it's an earthquake. It looks like the coolest, most badass thing ever, and then you find out it's all a vision, and none of the action scenes ever happen as the Volturi decide not to fight. So in a way, this is one of the most pointless fucking endings I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, what was even the message or the point at the end of this movie? You know, fighting isn't always the answer. That lame-ass message that's been done to death before so many times, especially in something like Pokemon, the first movie, where the entire focus of Pokemon is to have these monsters fighting. I mean, way to be extremely hypocritical. They took the one aspect for the series was starting to get good, and they just pulled a friggin' rug out of you. It ruins an overall movie that should have been so amazing but they went the lame way out. They didn't want to piss off the Twilight fans. Ooh, you know, spare us the badassness of this. But no, they went for the lamest, most cheesiest way to end a franchise possible. And it's just like, when that happened, I was just like, God, are you kidding me? Like, yeah, it's that bad. It is that absolutely frustratingly bad. It's that, you get the idea. It's a bad way to end a movie. But I will give it this. For about 2/3 of the movie, there was actually something about it that I was enjoying about it. I mean, granted, it's no Eclipse, but it's better than what we've had in most of these other movies. There was at least something where you were invested in the adventure, you were invested in what was going on. And for the most part of this movie, it succeeds. This franchise is not for me by any means necessary, but I did at least get some quality out of this film. They were at least trying to appease people that weren't just the Twilight fans, except for the way it ended. But other than that, I thought they did a pretty good job of it for the most part there. Not a great movie, not a bad movie, just better than it should have been. Especially after Breaking Dawn Part 1. Yeah, I'll take this any day of the week, but yeah, fuck that ending, man. Just fuck that ending. I mean, my God. You know, we need a palate cleanser here, people. So why don't we go ahead and move away from a movie that was okay except for the ending and get to one of my favorite movies of all time, which I've talked about on Life before, but I'll briefly touch it up here again. Silver Linings Playbook.
What are you going to do with yourself?
Getting shrimp, getting really fit for Nikki.
After she left, you've never met anyone
It was so bad. What's this I hear about you just getting out? The loony bin!
like that. He's never met anyone.
Hey, Tiffany. This is Pat. You look nice.
Thank you.
I'm not flirting with you.
I didn't think you were.
Like Tiffany.
Look, I think you're really pretty. I'm married, okay?
So am I.
No, that's confusing. He's dead. Wait, what's happening?
From David O. Russell, director of The Fighter.
What the hell?
I just want us to be friends.
So is this the girl you wrote about? She's fine.
She is my friend with an F.
A capital F.
For friend.
Are you taking the proper dosage of your medication? Taking a little bit too many or something? Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro, and Chris Tucker.
Let me tell you, when life reaches out at a moment like this, it's a sin if you don't reach back.
In the movie Entertainment Weekly calls the best movie I've seen this year.
Wait, what's this?
Well, I thought you were doing it.
Oh, I thought you were doing it.
Silver Linings Playbook. Rated R.
So in Silver Linings Playbook, you have Bradley Cooper, who is coming out of a mental institution stay, and he's a former teacher who moves back in with his parents, played by Robert De Niro and Jackie Weaver. They're trying to reconcile with his ex-wife, but things get more challenging when Pat meets Tiffany, played by Jennifer Lawrence, a mysterious girl with problems of her own. And I saw this movie after I had done my best of the year list for 2012, because Argo was at the top of my, I think it's Argo and Haywire were both at the top of my list when I did my original list. So this is one of those movies I had to see after the movie had been out in theaters for a couple months. It was getting a wide release for awards consideration, and the worst part about doing your top 10 list when the year's coming to an end is that you miss out on so many of these Oscar contenders, because every once in a while you'll get a really great movie out of it, and you'll immediately regret the decision to not put it in there. That happened last year with Anora, which I would have replaced Late Night with the Devil, which I still really enjoyed that movie, but I would have replaced that with Anora, because I saw that at the end after the year had ended. But this is definitely one of those movies where I really, really found myself enjoying the hell out of this movie. This is one of the best romantic comedies I have ever seen in my entire life. This is a romantic comedy that doesn't play by the books. It doesn't play down to the lowest common denominator. It doesn't resort to pathetic attempts to get a laugh out of you. It's a genuine, real-life romantic comedy that adds elements of drama to it, and it's played in such a unique and well-done fashion. I mean, this is a tour de force by David O. Russell and everybody involved in here. Bradley Cooper is great. Robert De Niro playing his father, who's also an Eagles fanatic, and he uses them as the basis of trying to get Bradley Cooper's life together. And you know, I feel like a lot of people can be in that guy's situation. I mean, I feel like that with the Steelers sometimes. Like every move that they make, every move that I make in my life is like. It's weird, because it's like everything that happens in life has to have something involved with the Steelers with it. That's kind of how I feel about the whole thing in general. But, you know, Jackie Weaver's great in here. Chris Tucker, you know, it's good to see Chris Tucker back in a role that actually really does show his true potential as an actor. In fact, I think this might actually be the first time I've ever seen him in a more serious role before. I mean, yeah, we know him from stuff like Friday and Rush Hour and The Fifth Element, where he's like the wacky guy, you know, in The Fifth Element he's doing the bzz, bzz, like that crazy thing, that crazy motif of his, but this is probably the most restrained performance I've ever seen him, and this might actually be the first time I've ever seen him in a serious role. I'd have to double check on that, but let's be honest, the real highlight of this movie, and the reason why I fell in love with this woman right from the get-go, Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, this is a movie where she is incredible. She looks good. She looks really good, and she's not really, like, dolled up or anything. I mean, she's not like Paula Patton in Ghost Protocol. She looks like a beautiful average-looking woman, like a woman you would see in real life. And I knew she was a good actress when I saw her in The Hunger Games earlier in the year, but here's a movie where you really see the true potential of this actress from just being, and she really does shine in this movie and moves from just being a good actress to becoming a great one. And in this one, she really has amazing chemistry with Bradley Cooper. It's one of the best chemistries you will ever see in a romantic comedy, and it really is the best thing about the movie. She really is the one character in this movie that you really get behind more than Bradley Cooper. I mean, it feels authentic, it feels real. It's no wonder she nailed the Best Actress Oscar. I mean, I really couldn't have seen anybody else topping what she did here. She knocked it out of the park. She's the one thing that I always take away from this movie as great. I mean, this whole movie is great overall. This is one of the best romantic comedies I've ever seen. Great heart, great performances, great actors all across the board. It never feels like it's going for the typical romantic comedy cliches. It is a legitimately great film. One of the great films I've ever seen in my entire life. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love the hell out of it. If you really need me to delve into it more, there's the link to the video in the corner, so go check that out. But Silver Linings Playbook, masterpiece. Masterpiece of a film. So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here. Keira Knightley starring as Anna Karenina.
It's the greatest love story ever written.
Something's happened.
Not something, everything.
Critics are raving. Keira Knightley is the Anna Karenina for our times. She's brilliant.
Leave him.
Leave my life.
In a go-for-broke performance that will likely land her in the Best Actress race again. From the director of Atonement comes the best love story seen on film in years. Keira Knightley. Anna Karenina, rated R.
This is, of course, based off of Leo Tolstoy's classic story where you depict the tragedy of Russian aristocrat and socialite Anna Karenina, played by Keira Knightley, who is the wife of senior statesman Alexei Karenin, and her affair with the affluent cavalry officer Count Vronsky, who's played by Jude Law. No, it's Aaron Taylor Johnson, excuse me, not Jude Law. Jude Law is actually Alexia, but this is Keira Knightley's third collaboration with Joe Wright, and they've worked pretty well together since. Pride and Prejudice was really good. Atonement was really good. This one, not quite as good. I mean, it's definitely better than Wright's last movie, Hannah, overall, but this still isn't that great of a movie. It's a beautiful-looking film, but it's your typical style over substance movie. And, you know, this film doesn't really feel like... The biggest problem with the movie in general is a lot of problems with a lot of adaptations of books like this. This feels like it should be more set for the theater stage than actual film production. There's nothing really about this film that screams out film production here. Like, you could be watching this on Broadway and you just don't have the audience clapping whenever whenever the scene comes to an end and all that. That's what it feels like with this movie in particular. And I guess to the film's credit, the casting overall is pretty solid. You have a strong cast that includes the aforementioned Keira Knightley, Jude Law, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Kelly MacDonald, Matthew McFadyen, Domhnall Gleeson, Ruth Wilson, Alicia Vikander, Olivia Williams, Emily Watson. So there is a lot of good talent in the film. The film clearly is trying. They're trying to do the same magic that they had with Pride and Prejudice and Atonement, but the differences between those two movies and this is that Pride and Prejudice and Atonement were at least trying to do things that were different compared to the source material they were working with here. It feels like they're trying way too hard to be something unique and different and not really coming together on the right idea of how this should have turned out. And like I said, the performances overall are good, but it's never enough for me to say that this is a movie you have to see. I mean, this is definitely one of the lesser films from Joe Wright, and Joe Wright's made a lot of good stuff, but keep in mind, this was around the time he was making stuff like Hannah, and then his next film was even worse with Pan, and then The Woman in the Window. So yeah, this was that strong start to his career kind of starting to fade off, starting with this film in particular. But like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just not an engaging film at all. And the performances, as good as the performances are in this movie, and the way the film looks, it's really not enough to carry the film to another upper echelon of greatness compared to what his works with Atonement and Pride and Prejudice were. But yeah, overall, I wasn't impressed by it. I was kind of let down by it, per se. Not a bad movie, but certainly a film you expect a lot more from, considering what these two had done before, Joe Knight and Keira Knightley. But it just wasn't in there for this film, unfortunately. So that's a hard skip on a... Not even a hard skip, but like a... I wouldn't even say it's a skip. For a one-time watch, I would say it's fine, But you're never going to want to watch this again after the first time around, so take that for what you will with Anna Karenina. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we'll jump into Thanksgiving weekend with a couple of big new releases, including Dreamworks' latest animated feature, Rise of the Guardians, which, no, it's not a sequel to Legend of the Guardians, although I would have liked that, but this movie's pretty badass for what it is. We have Ang Lee delivering probably his most visually beautiful, most visually pleasing film to look at with The Life of Pi. We also have the remake of Red Dawn, because somebody at MGM wanted to make one so badly, and they made one, and yeah, spoiler alert, it ain't that good. We have Anthony Hopkins starring as Alfred Hitchcock in Hitchcock, and is that all we've got? Just those 4 films? Looks like, yeah, it looks like we have those 4 films to look at overall, so we'll take a look at them on the next episode here, as we're coming towards the end of 2012 as a whole, so with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.